All right, so here is session 3 for lesson 10. This is a refined lesson, which basically reviews the different techniques we learned in the previous lessons, and then it has lots of different examples that we can practice on. So let's get into it with a warm up. All right, so this warm up is use any strategy to find the sum. And again, the sum is what your the name for your answer for an addition problem. And for this, I'll just go to the using the place value chart and I look at my largest number for the place value chart, and I see I've got tens, ones, tenths, and hundreds for that. So I'll need basically 4 spots on my place value chart. So again, I got the tens place, the ones, my decimal spot, my tenths, and my hundreds. And let's put in our numbers. So it's 12.74. So 110, 2 ones, a decimal, 7 tenths, and 4 hundredths. And then 3 and 6 tenths, or 3.6, is 3 ones, a decimal, and 6 tenths. Let's add these up right underneath. And again, I like using place value charts because it also helps when we do stuff like regrouping. When you add them up, they're more than 10 or more than 9, excuse me. For example, let's go 4 plus 0 is 4, 7 plus 6 is 13. So again, think of a place value chart as having only enough space to hold a single digit. So if you end up with a double digit, you got to break it apart and send the other part to the next column. So put my decimal here. So this is 13, but that 1 has to get shoved over to the ones place. So 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6. And then 1, so it's 16.34, or 16 and 34 hundredths. Because again, it's named by where that is at the end. All right, your textbook starts on page 199. And let's go with that. All right, as the example up the top, you can look it over, but this one does not have an answer, so let's figure this one out. Dinah has 2 beads on her bracelet. The length of the red bead is 0.68 centimeter, and the length of the yellow bead is 1.22 centimeters. What's the total length of the 2 beads on Diana's bracelet? Look at how you could show your work using decimal grids, which are here. What that is basically showing you is this part that's the 1.22, and this is that. You could also use expanded form and then get an answer at 1.90. But like I said, several different ways to find answers with adding decimals. Our tried and true way is just lining up our decimals and doing it like that. So whatever technique works for you. But honestly, this is the one that we want to shoot for because we don't usually have grids available. And then sometimes breaking down things in expanded form, you're basically making more work for yourself because these decimal numbers are basically broken up into more parts, which means more steps. So I would go with this way. And I think you would too. Let's look at 1. A US quarter has a mass of 5.67 grams. So if we put it on a scale and weight it, it would be 5.67 grams. A penny has a mass of 2.5 grams. What's the total mass of the 2 coins? Show your work. Again, I'm getting away from using place value charts because I want us to get more practice. Now, 2 is in the ones, 5 is in the tenths, and to add up decimals, we make sure we add numbers to the same place value. So 2.5. If you have a gap or something here, like underneath the 7, you're welcome to put a 0 there because that's not going to change the value of anything. So you have 7, 6 plus 5 is 11. Bring down my decimal, and then we have 8 0.17, and it's 8.17 grams. Or if you want to say it properly, because this is in the hundredths place, it's 8 and 1700ths grams. All right, turn the page. All right. I like this one because this is kind of another real life example where we're purchasing something and we don't always buy two things. Sometimes we can buy three or more things and have to do additional adding. So Kenton is shopping for clothes during a special event. Let's assume it's a sale. He pays $24.99 for a pair of jeans and $5.25 for a clearance price shirt. Clearance price just means the store is trying to get rid of some products, so they drop the price so they'll be more likely to be sold. He also pays $10 for a belt. So how much does Kenton pay for his clothes? Show your work. So what you do is for any problem that has multiple amounts of money and you've got to add them up and get a total, you just take it a couple different steps at a time. So let's split this in half. Let's go with $24.99 for the jeans, plus the clearance shirt. And let's add these up. 9 plus 5 is 14. Carry our 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus a 2 is 12. Bring down your decimal point. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 1 is 10. And 2 plus 1 is 3. So just for those two items, it's $30.24. The second part to this is you have $30.24. And lucky for us, adding $10 is fairly simple. Where to put those, if you've got an amount like $10 without any decimals, is you line them up the whole numbers. You kind of ignore these the cents part of it because you're just dealing with whole numbers. But now that we have it here, another way to look at it is if you're working with money and you're just given a whole dollar amount, any whole dollar amount, you can add 0 cents to it like that, if that makes it look more easy to add for things like that. So, especially with money problems, do it like that. So, got 4, 2, bring that down, 0, and a 4. And I'm sure some of you probably could have done that one in your head, but just in case, I set it up for you like that. So Kenton is going to pay $40.24 for all of his items. All right, let's look at 3. So for this one, we can add it up like this. So I'm looking at these 3 numbers up here, and this is also possible. I am going to use a place value chart for this one, though. I put one too many there. There we go. So I'm looking at my largest number here. I've got a tens place, a ones, a tenths, and a hundredths. Here's your decimal spot right there. So I'm just going to do this pretty quickly because this is pretty easy to set up. Oops. The magic of the smart board, I can just move that over. 1 and 25 hundredths and 0.16. All right. If your numbers are manageable, you can always line up more than two amounts and add them up. For example, I've got my 5, my 4, which is 9, plus 6, which is 15. 5, 6, 8, that's 9. Bring down my decimal. We got 1 plus 1 is 2. And we got 1. So 12.95, which is C. Of course, you could have just done this, add up 2 of them together, and then add the third. That's also possible. So I just wanted to show that you can line up as many questions is you want an addition problem. Just be careful with regrouping and I would make sure you just have numbers that are manageable. It's entirely up to you as far as what to do for that. But let's look at this. Chloe chose D as the correct answer. How does she get that answer? Um, so the answer for D is 12 and 85 hundredths, which is 1/10 less than the correct answer. And I'm going to guess that she forgot to regroup because we've got this 1 in the tenths column from the regrouping. If she forgot to write that, then she would have ended up with, instead of 9, she would have ended up with an 8 right here if she forgot to put that over there. So that's probably likely why she did that. Okay, let's go. This is another one where we can add up multiples. Randy rides his bike 1.23 miles to school. After school, he rides 9/10 of a mile to the library and another 1 and 500 miles to a park. So he's been pretty busy. How many miles does Randy ride in his bike at all overall? So again, we can line up these three amounts. But if you would prefer to do one at a time, that's okay too. But for the sake of examples, I'm just going to go line all these up just like this. And what I'm also going to do is show that I could put a 0 there for that. And you can ignore this. This is just Ready Math has this little setup so you can actually put in a decimal, filling in the bubbles, but we just need to get to the answer here. All right, so I've got my decimals lined up. Let's highlight those in red. And again, if you line up your decimals, that guarantees that your numbers will be lined up by the proper place value. So that's why it's important to do that. All right, 5 plus 3 is 8. 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry my 1. Now my decimal, 1, 2, 3. 3 and 18 hundredths, 3.18. And we're going to call that miles because these values we added up were in miles. So our final answer should be in miles as well. And let's do a couple more. Let's do number 5. And you can cross out 6 if you're looking at that in your paper because we're not going to do that one. Raphael runs the first half of a race in 23.08 seconds, and the second half of the race in 27.92 seconds. What is Raphael's total time for the race? This is just notice that both of these numbers have digits all in the same place value spots, so this will be easy to line up. And this one is going to go pretty quickly. 8 plus 2 is 10. 9 plus 1 is 10. 7 plus 3 is 10, but we've got a 1 there, so bring down a 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And the final answer is 51.00. Notice I like how they put the answer is just 51 without the 0.00 like we did here because it is the same value. They're exactly the same. All right, so cross out 6. Turn the page, and number 7 is the last problem we're going to be doing on this. And again, this is another one where we can line up all three numbers. These are all pretty manageable numbers. And I like how 1 and 7/10, make sure you line up your 1 with the ones place, your 7/10 with the tenths place. This is 9 hundredths. So that 9 has to line up with the 2 here in the hundredth spot. Put a 0, and then we got this right here. And let's add them up. 9 plus 2 is 11. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus another 1 is another 11. Bring down your decimal point. 2, 3, 4. 4.11 is our final answer. Okay, so not too bad, and that's adding decimals. A lot of you have been doing a great job on the IXL this week, and some are already done. If you're not, make sure that you go to 100% for, again, H1. which is the same lesson we did on Tuesday and Thursday. Again, these will hold your whatever percentage you left off on, and you will get a complete answer for reaching 100% for that for this week. So you'll get 3 grades out of it, 3 100s if you completed the 70%, 80%, and now the 100%. So contact me with any questions, and I look forward to seeing you in math class.